Welcome back to another episode of The Lost Codex, a channel dedicated to the people, places, and histories of Azeroth's universe. In the previous chapter on the Titan Keepers of Azeroth, we explored the creation of their wondrous servants, the construction of their immense strongholds and machineries, and the seeding of life across Azeroth. Today we return to the next chapter in the legends of the Titan Keepers. Odyn, Prime Designate of Azeroth. Although he had helped shape and reform the surface of the world and led the Keepers through an age of unity, Odyn and his brethren would come to a disagreement following the fall of Galakrond. As Tyr and the other Keepers empowered 5 unique proto-drakes, turning them into the dragon aspects, Odyn remained convinced that only the Titanforge and their servants could protect Azeroth, and that blessing the aspects with the safeguarding of the world was a mistake. Working alone, Odyn decided he would create a Titanforged army that he could call upon should the world ever fall under threat. Odyn would need soldiers for his army, and the Prime Designate turned his gaze towards the fierce, metal-skinned Vrykul, believing them to be the perfect embodiment of a true warrior. These Titanforged would fill the ranks of his army, and Odyn would call them his Val'kyr. As the other Keepers returned from the blessing of the aspects, Odyn invited them to join him in the creation of his army. The other Keepers denied Odyn's invite, begging him to abandon his plans and to trust the noble dragon aspects in the protecting of Azeroth, yet the Prime Designate was unmoved by their words. Odyn turned to his adopted daughter, Helya, the Titanforged sorceress who had helped Keeper Ra create the elemental plane, and requested her assistance in securing a base of operations for his Val'kyr. Odyn secured one of the many vast wings of Ulduar, and with a powerful spell cast by Helya, a portion of the great Titanforged stronghold was ripped from the mountains and lifted into the heavens. In time, this new floating citadel would become known as the Halls of Valor. The Halls of Valor would become a place of legend for the Vrykul of Azeroth. Odyn proclaimed that those who proved their worth and bravery by dying a glorious death in battle would be given a second life within the halls. Although originally intended to be merely a fortress, the Halls of Valor would become a legendary realm that all Vrykul strive to ascend to. In time, it was here that ascended Vrykul could revel with their long-dead ancestors through drink, food, and song, spar and fight in Odyn's glorious arena, and even stalk great beasts in the fields of the Eternal Hunt, an enchanted ecosystem filled with enormous animals, rolling fields and dense forests, and glittering streams that trickled in the shadows of a sprawling mountainscape. The once sturdy severed wing of Ulduar had become a glorious paradise for Odyn's favored Titanforge. Here, the mightiest of those who passed through the High Gate would be granted new Stormforged bodies, their skin shining colors of silver and gold. Although Odyn's vision for forging an army from the strongest and bravest of Vrykul was an ambitious one, the Prime Designate was faced with a problem. Odyn needed to find a way to transport the spirits of the dead Vrykul from the mysterious realm of the Shadowlands to his grand golden citadel among the clouds. The Keeper spent a period of time studying the plane of existence that housed the spirits of death and decay, and came to a grim conclusion that would solve his problem. Odyn would require new servants that could travel between the physical realm and the realm of the Shadowlands in order to ferry the spirits of the fallen Vrykul up to the Halls of Valor. To do this, Odyn would need to turn several Vrykul into wraith-like beings known as the Val'kyr, who would be forced to serve as phantom spectral entities for all eternity. When none of the Vrykul volunteered, Odyn decided he would turn them by force. Before he could do so, Helya stepped forward, criticizing the figure she had viewed as a father, berating him for his proposed plans to enslave unwilling Vrykul. The argument that ensued ended with a threat from Helya. If Odyn did not change his mind on forcing unwilling Vrykul to become Val'kyr, Helya would return the great golden halls of Valor back to Ulduar. This threat did not sit easy with Odyn, not because of the great power she wielded at her fingertips, but because of the threat she now posed to his plans. In Odyn's mind, Helya's threat not only endangered the vision he had for his Val'kyr, but also put Azeroth itself and its entire future at grave risk. And this was something Odyn, the Prime Designate of Azeroth, would not allow.